All right, unfortunate news this Friday morning. Welcome to on Texas Football. I'm CJ Vogel. This is Gerry Hamilton. Trey Weisner announces his intention to enter the NCAA transfer portal when it opens up January 2nd. Jerry, look, we knew that they were in communications with the staff. All three avenues were available: the NFL, back to Texas, and of course the portal. Well, news broke Friday morning that it is the portal. What's the latest you got?
Yeah, so I mean, look, I think the number one question for Texas fans is, what does that do? One for bowl game. So I mean, CJ, that's going to lead us down the path of very young running backs in the bowl game, and then two, what Texas now needs probably two running backs in the transfer portal. I think that is the reality. I mean, yes, Derek Cooper coming in is a very talented freshman. You have to make sure the guys playing in the bowl game are going to stay as well following the bowl game. Derek Cooper's very talented. Jet Walker could be a guy that can play on some special teams. But on the surface, Texas absolutely has to have a number one back. And the question is, do they get two out of the portal while their younger guys get their feet wet and continue to develop, CJ?
Yeah, that's of course the biggest part. And let's rewind a little bit, right? Weisner comes in, he was recruited by Tashard Choice. He gets on campus and, immediately starts earning his stripes in special teams, right? A hardworking kid, grinder. We've all seen it, over 2,000 all-purpose yards over the last 3 seasons, 2 of which, 2024 and 2025, he was your main go-to guy, Jerry. So look, as a kind of middle-of-the-road 3-star guy, exceeded expectations on the 40 acres and grew into becoming one of the fan favorites in Austin. Unfortunately, this is now the business of college football, and he will be moving towards the portal. And the one thing that we've yet to see, Jerry, is an announcement into the portal and a retainment from the Texas staff. So this does feel final. We'll see, obviously, what that means for Texas. But this was a guy, all in all, who outplayed his ranking and all expectations coming into Texas.
Yeah, Trey Weisner it was tremendous for 3 years for Texas because he came in and played a special teams role. He was an undersized back, and Rod calls it body armor, which is built more like a wide receiver coming out of high school. He played split time between wide receiver and running back as a senior at DeSoto after beginning his high school career at Waco Connolly. But he did whatever the staff asked him to. He impacted winning how he could. Then he really came on and zipped past any expectations anybody had of him as a running back in year 2. And then year 3, people were like, well, he only rushed for 600 yards. Yeah, well, he missed San Jose State, Sam Houston State, and UTEP.
Yeah.
So he probably would have had close to 800, 900 yards in 12 games. So he was a very productive player. He was a rival killer.
That's it.
Call him that, Oklahoma and A&M. And now the other piece of that, CJ, is the top 3 backs going into the year, arguably Christian Clark, right? So 3A, 3B with Jarrett Gibson, they're all gone. Your experienced backs coming into this 25 season, Tre Wisner, Cedric Baxter, and Jarrett Gibson are now all gone. So you currently have Christian Clark, you have James Simon, and you have Michael Terry, who's been working out at running back, but's never had a college carry. We'll see him against Michigan, I'm quite sure. But that tells you with Derek Cooper coming in and then Jet Walker, how much work Texas has to do in the portal to have the number one back, first of all, and the experience they need, number 2, headed into the season. Because, I don't know how many days the Ohio State game is, but it gets here fast, CJ.
Yes, it does. And it will. And look, you get one portal window to knock that out. Yes. And we knew Texas was going to be aggressive finding an RB1. But look, an RB2 now on the table for sure for Texas. Because to your point, Jerry, outside of this Michigan game, there just won't be a lot of experience for that room in general. I will say this. I know Christian Clark has been taking that second team reps for Texas in its bowl preparation. Of course, James Simon now set to get an enhanced load as well. And Michael Terry, who I think we're all behind the scenes sitting here saying, I kind of want to see what he can bring to the table. We hear his name pretty often. We know that there's been some murmurs about him turning heads. Now it feels like Texas is going to have to use him out of necessity rather than a luxury. But ultimately, to your point, that immediate Michigan game, it's down to 3, and it's down to 3 inexperienced backs with Weisner no longer expected to make the trip. Again, the team will take off about an hour from now, the time that we're recording this, Jerry. But that Michigan game will be filled with a lot of inexperience at the running back spot.
Yeah, it will be. And I think there's talent there. Look, I mean, you guys know I'm a big James Simon fan. I think he's an instinctive physical back. I think he's going to excel when he gets his opportunity at Texas. So now here's the big thing, though. I mean, like a guy like a Michael Terry's first college game actions against Michigan, those are real players. This is not G5. Okay, so how do these guys do in pass pro? Where are they at in route running as far as timing with Arch Manning, right? In game, what's going to happen in game for these guys when there are some jitters where things start moving really fast so you can't replicate games in practice? So what's going to happen at that point? I think Christian Clark has played enough to where he's prepared. I think James Simon's got his feet wet, but I think because his father was in coaching, he's going to be prepared. But Michael Terry's going to be a total wild card in this game. And CJ, I wanted to ask you, go back to the start of this, though, kind of behind the scenes on your end, kind of this thing had some back and forth. It seemed like real back and forth, not reported back and forth, but like real back and forth the last week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know that there were reports coming out that Weisner was returning, and it just hadn't quite gotten to that point. There were still conversations to be had, both with Trey in Texas,
Yeah.
Trey and his family in Texas, and of course, the agency NIL side of things. And I think that's a lot of where the disconnect came, where, Trey, of course, for 2 years was the number one back at the University of Texas. And it didn't feel to me as though there was ever a true connection but behind the scenes, right, off the field. And that's really where the conversation then turned to after Christmas. And of course, one day later, you end up with Cole in your stocking if you're Texas, and Weisner's hitting the portal. But ultimately, there was just never that true decision from Weisner or his camp to say, hey, we're returning for 2026 to the University of Texas. And Jerry, real quick, again, we know that Texas is big game hunting in the running game, running back front.
Yeah,
that changes now. You got to have a second one as well.
No, 100%. I mean, there's actually pressure now. I think there's pressure on Brandon Harris and the staff from a running back position. That doesn't mean they don't have talent in the program. They do. But to your point, I mean, look, people are waiting. The decision is Jaden Ball going to enter the portal or not right now. He met with John Sumrall, Buster Faulkner, and a lot of Sumrall's family the day before Christmas. Didn't as of the day before Christmas and not given Florida any indication he was coming back or going. So, you have guys like that. There's going to be guys that pop up that we're kind of monitoring to see if they go in the portal, but there's definitely a different pressure now. I think the difficult thing with some of this too, back to Trey Weisner is, look, you can talk to a lot of people and somebody, because there are some people that report, oh, Trey Weisner's coming back. Well, somebody could say, hey, Trey Weisner wants to come back. So does that mean he's coming back? No, because what's the number he's asking for?
Right.
So anybody that reported he was coming back did not know what he was asking for. That changes the game right now. What's the agent asking for, and what's the market value outside of Texas if you do go into the portal? So that's the difficult thing about covering this stuff right now. But Texas now has a little pressure, CJ, to go get a true number one back. They have talent in this program. They have talent head of this program, but they give those guys the ample time to find their way into this rotation.
Yeah, again, so just to rehash, Trey Weisner will enter the portal. Texas will be rocking with Christian Clark as RB1. James Simon will be in that conversation as well. And look, Michael Terry will soon get his first carry as a Texas Longhorn. That is the expectation as Texas enters Orlando this week to begin week of preparation for Michigan in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Atop of that, look, the portal we know is going to be busy at the running back position. Texas still awaiting a decision from Jaden Ball. Look, Hollywood Smothers is in the portal as well. That's a top back out of NC State. And Cam Cook, the nation's leading rusher with ties to the area, already entered over the weekend as well. So look, a lot still to come when it comes to what this 2026 running back room will look like in year one under Jabbar Jaluk. But that's the latest for us right now. Jerry, I know you got coffee and football coming up, so we got plenty to talk about as Friday gets underway. And until then,
and I'm in Orlando, and I know one guy that's not getting off that team bus today now.
That is unfortunately the instance. So, Jerry, thank you very much for the update as well. You can find everything over at ontexasfootball.com. Come join us, OTFOG. But until then, you'll have a great, merry post-Christmas, and we'll get you covered for the Citrus Bowl coming up. Welcome.